I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. If you all could help me and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will now announce the winners of the 2 council seats that were open. We have the winner of Mr. Jerry Gross, Sr., and Miss Rose Powell. And if Mr. Jerry Gross, you can come over here and I will swear you in.
Have to stand down there now. That's a new one.
All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jerry Gross, Sr., do solemnly swear
I, Jerry Gross, Sr., do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City Charter and the Code of Ordinance
the City Charter and the Code of Ordinance
of the City of Cedar Springs, and the City of Cedar Springs,
of the City of Cedar Springs,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of council member
of council member
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my ability.
Welcome, Jerry.
Miss Rose.
I have turkey. I'm not sure. I don't know if that counts as drug.
All right.
I think
You
we
can raise your right hand. I, Rose Ellen Powell, do solemnly swear
I, Rose Ellen Powell, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City Charter and Code of Ordinances
the City Charter and Code of Ordinances
of the City of Cedar Springs,
of the City of Cedar Springs,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of council member to the best of my ability.
and I will faithfully discharge my duties as council member to the best of my abilities. Thank you, everybody who voted for me.
Thank you. All right. I would like to open the floor for nominations for mayor.
I would like to nominate Harold Hall as mayor.
Second. You second that, girl?
I think it was
Take
nominated.
nomination.
Do you see the bus coming before we bring you under it?
I didn't even ask him.
How many times?
As long as we can get you.
Yes.
All right.
I'm 55.
Someone move to make any other nominations? Or someone close the floor for nominations?
Move the nominations for mayor be closed.
All right. Would you all like to do a hand vote? Voice vote?
Whatever you would like.
Let's do a voice vote. So,
Yes.
would someone make a motion to
Do I-
vote?
Oh, we have,
Oh.
yeah. I move that we
You vote.
vote on the mayoral candidate that's been nominated.
Second.
Go ahead.
We're waiting for roll call.
Okay, yeah, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think
Yes.
that's one of the options.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion is passed. And I will issue you your oath.
Do I gotta come down to me?
You don't have to, if you'd like to.
Yes, he does.
We want to see you better. Mayor Hall. Mayor
All right. Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City Charter and Code of Ordinances
the City Charter and Code of Ordinances
of the City of Cedar Springs,
of the City of Cedar Springs.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor to the best of my ability.
I will discharge the duties of mayor to the best of my ability.
All right.
If you want me to do it, I'll do it. I tell Jerry all the time, I'll be Robin to his Batman as long as he wants me to.
And I will turn the meeting over to the mayor.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I would entertain nominations for Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, I nominate Pam Conley.
Second.
I think Robin and Batman might be.
How about Fat Man and Ribbon? Is there any other nominations for Mayor Pro Tem at this time? I would entertain a motion to close the nomination for Mayor Pro Tem.
I will make that motion. Can I make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second whoever made the motion.
Let's vote.
Okay, so nominations are now closed. I'll call for a roll call vote. On the nomination of Mayor Pro Tem is Mrs. Pam Conley. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins? Yes. Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Gross?
Yes.
Mrs. Conley?
Yeah, let's do this.
Mr. Hall votes yes. Motion carries. The new Mayor Pro Tem, Mrs. Pam Conley.
It's everybody.
Chief,
And Robin.
you're up. You gotta go there.
Oh, right. I will not get close enough to share my phone strings.
Good.
Raise your right hand. I, Pam Conley,
I, Pam Conley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City Charter and Code of Ordinances
the City Charter and Code of Ordinances
of the City of Cedar Springs,
of the City of Cedar Springs,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Mayor Pro Tem to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Mayor Pro Tem to the best of my ability. Want me to touch it?
There I have mine.
Do you have any Purell?
You get.
Yeah. We're tough.
We're tough.
You talk. You
I'm
work
not.
in the school.
I got hand sanitizer out.
Thank you.
Wipe it off.
Want it back?
Congratulations, Pam.
Thank you.
Want it back?
Yeah, I got hand sanitizer out. Wipe it off.
Item number 2, moving on, in this part of the meeting, call a roll call vote. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins? Yes. Mrs. Nixon?
Yes. Here, what are we doing?
We're roll call.
Here.
We're here. Mrs. Powell?
Here.
Mr. Gross?
Here.
Mrs. Conlon?
Here.
Ms. Hall votes yes. Everyone's present, council, and Madam Clerk. Moving on to item 3, public comment. The council welcomes and encourages the public to speak during the public comment in the public hearing portion of this agenda. However, council policy is to hear the public comment, not to act on the public comment at this time. Concerns brought before the council during the public comment period of the agenda will be referred to the city manager for action. If, after communication with the city manager, no resolution is reached, the concerns will be elevated to the mayor and then eventually to the council for action. Those citizens wishing to speak on agenda and non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during the council meeting citizens are allowed to address the council. Please state your name and address for the record. At this time, is there anyone wishing to address this council? Mr. Needy.
Hi, I'm Kurt Navy, 15022 Ritchie Avenue. A couple things on discussion I'd like to put my 2 cents worth on the land donation to Habitat for Humanity. That topic came up a couple of years ago. I think it's a good idea. One thing I'd like to encourage council to take into consideration is the possibility of doing senior housing zero step at that location. According to our master plan, that's one of the things that is a goal of ours and that has not been focused on much as far as the housing for senior citizens within walking distance of downtown. So I'd like to, pardon?
And/or handicap.
Yeah, so the zero step, but I would encourage you to at least review that, take a look at that. With all the things going on, that would be a good opportunity for us if Habitat is willing to do that, Mr. Womack. Second thing is also the Urban Art Initiative, Mr. Womack, I love that idea. One thing I would possibly suggest is getting together with the local schools, CTA and Cedar Springs Public Schools, and work on our relationship. We used to display things from the school a lot more in the past, and I'd like to see that, and that'd be part of your plan also, Mr. Womack. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Needy.
Thank you.
Mrs. Clark.
Donna Clark, 18 North Grant. I want to invite everyone to the Friends Book Sale. It starts tomorrow from 10 to 6 and Saturday from 10 to 5. And we're raising money for the new library, as you know, and everything is a quarter, even a hardcover book. So there are a lot of books. We didn't have it Red Flannel Day, and we really desperately need to move them all out. So come down and help us.
Okay.
Where is it at, Donna?
Oh, yes. It's at the Senior Center, Elm and Park. Louise is the Friends president.
Thank you. Any other person wishing to address the council? Mr.
They're on the,
Oh, okay, the little part of
Mr.
that.
Mayor, may I just say something to Mrs. Clark?
Sure.
The library looks amazing. I'm so excited. So everybody go walk around, take a look, and thank you to Mr. Womack for getting some wonderful pictures off of the inside of that. Very exciting.
Really, really good.
Any other person wishing to address the council at this time?
Our flannel cleaning court would like to address the council at this time.
Yes.
Okay. So we'd be end of public comment.
No.
I know where you live.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Mumina Sisi, and I'm the Red Flannel Queen. And then I'm going to introduce you guys too, or introduce ourselves. Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry. Wow. With this scholarship that I'm getting, I am planning on to go to Grand Valley and receive my degree on education. And I'm looking forward to
May
seeing.
the force be with you.
I'm planning on I'm looking forward to seeing all the children and all the parades that I'm going to go on the first year, and I'm looking forward, and I love experiencing new things, so it's kind of great. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
I'm Kaylee Luck. I'm a member of court this year, and with the scholarship money that I'm going to receive, I'm planning on going to MSU to study forensics and eventually become a forensic medical examiner after law school. And this year, I'm looking forward to meeting new people and getting closer with these girls and just being a part of our wonderful community.
Academic rock star.
My name is Madison Case. With the scholarship money, I plan to go to GRCC and go in the program of pediatric dentistry.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's going to work with kids. And for this year, I'm really looking forward to meeting new people and just going out and doing things for the community. Thank you.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you, ladies. You are inspiring, and thank you for making our community so wonderful.
Thank you for being
Red Flannel Rod and Gun Club right after Red Flannel Day, and they all had a very good time.
Oh, are they a good shot now?
Yes.
I don't doubt it.
We were taught by the boss.
He is pretty, I hear best shot from Cedar Springs. And if you're from Cedar Springs, that's dangerous.
I'm ahead.
Big target.
In Cedar Springs or from Cedar Springs?
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome.
Ladies,
I hear your name on the wall.
see you at Women's Club.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Drugs are holding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, moving on, the agenda on a public hearing. We have a public hearing for Resolution 2016-29, the Brooks property transfer. At this time, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to have a motion to open public hearing.
Support. Whichever. In or out.
Okay, there's a motion to open the public hearing for Resolution 2016-29, Brooks property transfer. I'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. All votes yes, we're open. Mr. Womack, will you speak to this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is something that I had Ms. Newland spearhead. She really got down and dirty with this, so I expect her to speak at length about all the intricacies involved, and then perhaps Mr. Stressman would like to speak as well. Ms. Newland?
Currently in place, there is the 425 agreement between Cedar Springs and Solon Township. This is just adding that piece of land that you have in front of you. So they're requesting water and sewage hookup there. Do you have any further questions for me?
I have a clarifier. So they're requesting water and sewage just be run out there on general purpose, or are they thinking about building something there, or?
That is going to be used for a retirement facility.
Oh, okay. Okay.
From what we've been told.
Okay.
Brooks facility will be a senior citizens, and I believe Mr. Stout, are you here, or Mr. McIntyre to speak to this? Mr. Stout, are you here to speak to the Brooks?
Question?
Were you here to speak on behalf of the Brooks transfer? No.
That was the face. The Brooks transfer, are you here to speak on it?
I talked to the assistant to the attorney, our owner of the Brooks program project, and about all I learned is everything is still a go, but they are having topographical problems with the property because of the elevation of the property, and also the fact that the county is requiring them to retain all water on the property, not only theirs, but also county water that's running across the property. And I think they have that solved. I did talk to their engineer about 2 weeks ago, and he said that he had the site plan pretty much completed, other than the part that had to do with running the sewer lines out to White Creek. So that's about all I know about it. I know they're way over budget as far as their costs. Check the costs into the program at this point.
Okay, thank you. The Brooks will be a senior assisted living home. They've been talking on this for quite a while, and they will be transferred from Solon Township into the city proper, which will allow them for police, fire, and water and sewer. This is just kind of a formality. So, any persons or citizens wishing to speak on this matter? Hearing none, and any of the counselors wish to speak to this?
I guess Tom was going to tell us about where the utilities were going to run from.
The previous city manager made an agreement with the developer, I believe, to run water and sewer off from White Creek Avenue. This does not benefit the city at all. The practice of the city has been to when somebody wanted to extend services, they had to extend the services across their property to the next property line so we could continue on and make that loop up around White Creek and Solon for our water and sewer lines. That would be my position, but I do know that the previous city manager made an agreement to come off the end of the lines on White Creek, and they have designated a right-of-way for the sewer lateral and the water line to come off from White Creek Avenue. Now, the city is not going to be responsible for maintaining that. That is just like the lateral that goes in anybody's house. So anything that goes wrong with that, they're responsible. The city is not, in my opinion, and I don't know if it's in the contract, but should not allow anyone else to tie into that lateral. Anything else that goes on up there should have the mains run to the property lines.
That was my question, Tom. Why would you say that nobody should tie into that line?
Well, we've had that issue before where two people have tied into one lateral line.
Yeah.
And if one person, if it has a problem past where they lie, they want the city to get involved in the dispute. Well, that's not our dispute.
No.
So it's been a practice for years now that we do not allow two laterals into one line.
So even if we put some kind of comment in the agreement that is not our territory, we will not be involved or pay any money for it, that doesn't keep them from still trying to engage us in their difficulty?
Right, it would be my suggestion just to ban it completely. There's no way that you're going to tie any other property into that line, period.
But we can't stop them if they want to?
Oh, yes, we can.
It would be
Put it
a-
in the contract.
it would be a dedicated service for that facility only.
Is that a deal killer?
I don't think so.
Good.
Do you have anything on this piece for Lou?
No, Mr. Stressman is my expert on this area.
I have a clarifying.
Mrs. Powell, you have any further?
I was wondering, when you say it's coming off of White Creek, does that mean it's like coming off of it where the Save-A-Lot is? It's going to go through that big field?
Right,
down there?
it's actually to the north side of the Save-A-Lot is where the water and sewer ends.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to come off from that back toward town, across that property to the property that they're designating as the Brooks retirement facility.
Okay.
But they do have to provide us with a 33-foot construction easement in that right of way.
And that has been done already, or that's been created, that?
I don't know if that's been created yet.
Oh, okay.
Why would we require the easement if it's not our responsibility?
That was the engineer's recommendation.
For future meeting.
Could be the engineer requires it.
The engineer required.
That was their recommendation, yes.
Which engineer? Our engineer?
Our engineers.
Our engineer will oversee or approve or deny this, and apparently they've looked at it. And they would have to have the final sign off.
I guess I don't understand that. Why is
One time.
it's their property, their right of way, their sewer line. We're not going to get involved in it, and we're saying we have to have a right of way.
But if they ever put a main, actual main down through there,
We have
Right.
future.
So if the next property wanted to attach, there'll have to be like a Y that comes out off the main, and we'll need to be able to attach that.
We wouldn't actually do that, do you think, Tom?
We will not do
We
that.
would go on down White
As long as I'm here, that's not going to happen.
I think we should go on down
I
White Creek.
understand we
Right.
can do that.
One at a time, please.
The right of way is for, since they're crossing other people's property, that will give them the availability to dig it up and fix it if anything ever happens to it. It's not that we're gonna do it, but the right-of-way has to be in place in order for them to do it.
I guess I still don't see why our engineers are requiring it, but I can see why it needs to be required by somebody.
Well, that's why ours is requesting it.
Oh, requesting, not requiring.
Well, it's a nicer way to put it.
Diplomatic, I love that.
Strongly encouraged.
Yes, I
Any other on
absolutely
this end?
now have a question, but
Go ahead, Nick.
thank you. So, to make sure that I understood what is proposed, instead of going down Pine Street to White Creek and following White Creek, is this a cost-saving measure that they just want to cut across the field with the water? Is that what the deal is?
Yes, they don't want to have the burden of the cost of extending the water and sewer to their property line, either up Pine Street to their property, which would bring it, if you're looking at Pine Street, their property sits like this, they would have to bring it to this, which would be the western corner of their property. Or if they go around the corner and down, they would have to extend it to the eastern corner. You have to extend it, we required that you extend it the length of your property to the length of your property when doing it. That's going to cost them a couple $100,000. That's why they're opting for this option in order for that that facility to be built there.
It sounds like the potential for a hot mess.
Not necessarily, but if I'm still here, when the other property gets sold up there, I would like to see that requirement, that water main and sewer main, that this does not happen again. Nobody actually looked at this when this was being developed, on what the cost would be to run water and sewer there. Now the property owner knows exactly how much water and sewer costs to be run up through there, so there's really no excuse the next time around.
So, would we be able to require that no one tie in to this secondary?
Yes.
Because I can't imagine it's going to run across other properties, and I can see it being very tempting for some to say, well, there's already water here.
We, if I'm right, we have the right to say no, and then what the right-of-way will allow the brook, if they have a failure issue in that sewer line, to allow them to go back on another person or the other party's property to do that repair. That doesn't allow them to allow that next parcel to connect.
Correct.
To clarify. Is Mr. Hopkins? Okay, Mr. Grove.
What are the diameters of the lines that they're proposing to run, Tom?
I think I'm not really sure about the fire protection system, but I think they're going to be running a 6-inch for the water and probably a 6-inch force main for the sewer. They'll have their own grinder pumps there that will actually pump that sewage out to the our mains, and then it will gravity feed from there.
Okay. Are we going to discuss this later, or is this going to be closed after the public hearing?
We would, once we hear everybody, and then we'll close it, and then I believe it's on the agenda.
Okay, because I think part of what we're doing right now is that discussion that we would have had at that time, but that's up to you, Mayor. I do have another point, but I can wait till that. Okay.
Just a clarification there, it'll be a force main, so nobody will be allowed to connect, correct?
Correct.
Because it's a pressurized main or something.
They wouldn't be, well, it's probably going to come up and gravity feed down, but we wouldn't let them do that anyway. It's our water system, it's our sewer system. No matter where it's at, we govern who either uses our facilities or brings water or gets water from us or sends sewage to us. So we can control every connection in the city. We can say yes or no.
And I believe the next step of this process is we allow this to go. It'll go before the planning commission, and then they can stipulate in site plan approval on what is allowed and what is not allowed.
Correct.
That's the other checks and balances to be concerned. This is just allows the traditional transfer of that property into the city to allow the process to proceed.
It was my understanding if we didn't do it this way, if we made them actually do the connections the right way, that this project would not survive that.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I've had that conversation with Dwayne, and I think you're absolutely correct.
That's my understanding as well.
Yeah, but I did say going down the road, there's no excuses anymore to say that we didn't know how much it would cost, because now you do. So
Either direction, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Either direction, yes.
Would cost about the same.
Yes. Yeah, I ran the numbers both ways. It actually comes out about the same because you have to put a lift station this way to go that way, or a gravity feed to go that way.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more question. I'm just curious about the history of the 425 area. When businesses have been added out there, every time a business was added on going to the west, have you required the new business to pay for the additional line attaching them? Or was there an initial amount of water and sewer put down 17 Mile and then anybody could hook into it for a regular amount of money?
Well, there was an agreement, a developer's agreement. The person who started that said, we'll put this in, but we're going to pay for it, but then there's a buyback agreement. That buyback agreement lasted for so many years, it just actually expired. So now anybody can hook up to it and not pay back. But
okay,
see, like when Wendy's went in, they had to pay a portion of it. When the medical facility, when Save-A-Lot, they had to pay their own portions of that. But now that is expired.
And that was a contractor that was not connected to the city.
I'm sorry?
That was a contractor who was not connected to the
Correct.
city?
Yes.
They fund the money to install all the upgrades and all the utilities with a payback agreement of X amount of dollars for a certain amount of years. Like Mr. President stated, that now deal is terminated. So in effect, the city could charge that fee and recoup it.
And we don't have a contractor out there willing to do that again, I suppose. Probably not. No. Risky business.
Okay, any other discussion? I entertain a motion to close the public hearing on resolution 2016-29, Brooks property transfer.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mrs. Conley?
Yes.
That's all votes yes. Public hearing is closed. Moving on to adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion to that effect.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the agenda presented.
Support. Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as
I can be
printed.
trained.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, sign no. Motion carries. Adoption of the agenda. The consent agenda consists of the regular meeting of October 13, 2016, approval of checks paid prior to 39-282 through 39-356, totaling $391,479.38. The October accounts payable checks number 39-357 through 39-360, totaling $1,612.24, and electronic transfers totaling $59.03. The total of all checks and transfers are $393,680 with $1.65. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, change the money onto a roll call vote. Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Gross?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon?
Yes.
Mr. All votes yes. Motion carries. Moving on to item 7, discussion items. Mr. Womack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As discussed previously, Veterans Day and Martin Luther King Day, we have considered closing City Hall to the public. Since Veterans Day is already tomorrow, we've had it posted on the website, city Facebook page, on the front door, that we will have City Hall closed tomorrow to the public. City staff will still be in building. We will be organizing, cleaning, taking old files upstairs, doing all the things we don't normally get to do when we're serving the public. And then Martin Luther King Day, I don't have the exact date in front of me, I think it's January 12th, which is a Monday. We will seek to close City Hall again that day for similar things. I think we get caught up with the holidays. And I think periodically throughout the year, if we can identify a holiday that we would not otherwise have off, I might close City Hall for those days. But I didn't know if council wanted to discuss that item or not, or identify any other additional holidays that they think we might be able to close the public, close City Hall to the public, or if they have any problems with either of those days. Presidency might be a possibility. Councilor Powell?
Can we make this just an annual thing and?
We could. I guess my only problem with writing it in stone like that is I don't know the needs of my staff at any given time. Of course, at this moment in time, I have a brand new clerk, a brand new treasurer, and they need to clean up from the previous clerk and the previous treasurer. I myself, I've been here since August 1st. There's a lot of things I'd like to do in my office, I just haven't had the time to do. What we discussed earlier today was that we were going to take all of our old files upstairs tomorrow, and then in January on Martin Luther King Day, we'll actually spend time upstairs organizing all the files up there. After that, we may be pretty well organized for a while. So I don't want to, at this point, say we're going to do it every year, but I will try to give it to you a little bit earlier next time than tomorrow. As you guys know, I try to give you stuff as early as I possibly can.
You're very good.
Thank you.
It's been done in the past,
Yeah.
so I don't see an issue with it
Yeah,
at
I don't think it's actually been done for that.
It seems like it has been annually, that it was like just the files that had gotten too old were shredded when their time for being held expired.
It was a concern with feelings and class.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Well, we put all this heavy stuff right above your head, so.
Excellent. That's wonderful.
Just to make it quick.
Moving on, Bureau action proposed. Moving on to item B.
As I stated before, I put this on the agenda for Councilor Gross. We did have a sidebar before the meeting started and discussed it briefly. I think his issue was that the policy indicates we need to do this within 10 days. And I clarified for him, the reason it says that is our agreement with Dropcam, which is now Nest. They delete our recordings after 10 days. That's the reason for the policy and no other reason that I'm aware of. I think he was trying to be a little bit more lenient and give us more time just in case we were on vacation or some other issues, which I appreciate.
That is exactly it.
Which I appreciate, but now that Mr. Stressman and I, and hopefully Ms. Newman soon, all know how to do this, I don't think it's going to be an issue moving forward.
Item C.
Like I said earlier, we discussed this possibility at the last meeting. I'd like to discuss it at length before we make any changes because it is an important part of this council. But I did draft a minority vote possibility that we did discuss last time. I didn't know if anyone had an actual chance to read it, but at this point it's just a draft. I'm open to ideas and suggestions.
From what I saw, it doesn't look like something that will have to be exercised very frequently. I didn't see a whole lot that was wrong with what was drafted myself. I don't know what the rest of the feelings are of the council members.
How do you feel about that?
One thing I might add is, there was discussion by council last time about exempting certain things, even if we were to adopt a minority vote opinion, one of which would be the community event applications, which I think by its own terms requires 2 months. So I don't think that would even be, something we'd have to worry about. But thank you, Mr. Gross, for actually reading it.
It's not the most interesting
I
thing
tried
in the world
to.
to read, but
It's a little dry,
Well written. I know last time you said that, the events wasn't on the list, the ones that needed to possibly go out that way.
It's a bit of a tangled web, and again, over the winter, I'm going to spend some time looking at all of our applications, all of our forms, and try to clarify things, make things a little bit simpler in the setting.
I think probably let us all, council persons, look this all over and make some notes and submit them to the manager, and we can take this up at another meeting. How's that sound?
I would like to make a couple of comments. Besides the fact that it was well written, I like that.
I do.
Very clear.
I do also believe that 2 months is not an unfair request of anybody to present their plans in advance. I do understand also that sometimes things come up at short notice. But we do need the time to have full consideration of every aspect of it in order to make a decision. So.
Mr. Mayor? Sure. I'm not sure exactly where this was. I just took off the page that it encapsulated the part that I have questioned about. And maybe you can explain it more clearly how it would apply. This policy may not be used to postpone an agenda item that has appeared and had an opportunity for discussion on a previous regular meeting of City Council agenda within the previous 6 months.
Sure. So the whole point of the minority vote is that we allow 2 council people to hold any agenda item that they want for additional discussion. Now, the current policy is that you see it twice. So I didn't want to make it so we could have 6 discussions on an item, and then you get to a point where you want to vote, and then that's when the 2 council people say, we got to push it another month. So it's to provide the ability to push it to at least 2 hearings, but no further.
That was my understanding. We had an issue that lasted, I don't know, did the issue with Skyhawks and our property on that property on the tax rolls or off the tax rolls, how many months did that roll on? At least 6. And I was the one who was pushing for, let's postpone. So are we saying that even a regular postponement?
No. See, this is only presenting a minority option one time only. The majority of council can always postpone. This is presenting the option for 2 council members who feel like maybe they're getting slighted a little bit, or they think something needs to be discussed more and the rest of council doesn't.
We still have the right to waive that policy, weren't we?
Right.
Okay. So.
It doesn't disband the rest of Robert's rules. It's
Correct.
kind of making a specific exception that you don't need an actual majority to decide, that a minority can decide. And I think I need it to be 1.
I'm kind of leaning that way too.
I need it to be 1.
I'd say
2 isn't going to work for me.
put your comments in writing.
And I can do that, but I mean, I'm just going to,
Well, we need to throw it out there for now, I
Yeah.
think, because it's gaining a significance for
I
several of us.
think if you have it at 1,
I
any council.
Well, then that's not a minority, that's just any one person.
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with
Veto
that.
power. Sort of.
I have no personal attachment to 2. The reason I chose 2 is to allow a motion to open, a second, and then 2 people to say it. So any way council wants to put it, I'm just presenting options.
If you look at the consent agenda item, there is language in there that a person may remove anything from the agenda. The council member.
Well, they can request to,
Correct.
but if the rest of the council doesn't vote to do it, that doesn't make that happen.
That's a democratic process, unfortunately.
Well, no, but yes, but we have the ability to craft this policy where we say how many times we're going to see something.
Okay.
And again, my big thing is not just time to think about it, but the time to go talk to the people who aren't sitting here and say, how do you feel about this? So that I can then bring that back.
And it might take more than once.
There you go. So, go ahead and put your comments down, and then we can discuss this more and more at a later time.
Sure.
Refine it a little more. Everybody okay with that?
In principle, I'm very much in favor of it.
Yeah.
Item D, like I said, Mr. Mayor, this was something that came up in a different Kent County community. They had a pet store selling animals that were not sourced from adoption centers. We don't currently have a pet store in the city. We do have some pet-related resources in the city, and of course there's always a possibility that they might start selling pets. But we could be proactive and pass an ordinance to this effect if council wants to.
Let's have our attorney draft up an ordinance.
My first gut reaction is that I don't want us to have an ordinance that would restrict this.
I agree.
I would say that public outcry shut that place down.
Correct.
And there's not a problem as of now, and I could very easily foresee public outcry, especially in a small town, making very short work of that. I'm not sure we need to pay an attorney to do it.
Well, you do have an attorney on staff who could do it.
I thought at one time,
It's a freebie.
So we're already paying.
did we research our ordinance and see if we had anything on the books? It seems I recall many years ago there was some type of an ordinance put on the books.
There wasn't anything on Unicode that I could find.
It might have been codified out
In the last recodification.
many ago, because I can remember several managers ago they tried that, and there was some ordinance, but I don't recall what it was.
What I can tell you is give you a little background on this. Now, this issue came up because this was an issue in Kent County. However, this proposed ordinance that I've listed here for you guys to review actually came out of Macomb County, which is where I came from. And what happened there is they have a giant flea market that on the weekends would sell pets. And this was the single most reported place in entire southeastern Michigan for various issues having to do with pets. And they got to a point where they had pickets every single weekend, and this went on for years and years and years. And only in the last year and a half or so is when this ordinance came to be, and they passed it, effectively forcing that company out of business.
And if we're looking to do a farmer's market,
Good point.
Was there actually, well, maybe not criminality, but abuse actually proven by the people who were raising the animals?
I guess
Riding the animals?
I guess it depends on your definition of abuse.
I can speak, there's a flea market around that I know there's some families that sell small animals, and there was some health issues with these animals after they purchased them, and they were out of luck, but they were just a non-regulated breeder per se. I know our ordinance do say in the community they're not allowed to have more than X amount of dogs, so that may checks and balance the pet store. But it's a business, so it might be something to look into in the future.
yeah, but I hadn't thought about the component of like, if we were, because I know a farmer's market is the thing that's on our wish
We're
list.
pushing that.
And, I mean, I've been to Burley Park, I know that's a thing that happens, that piece of it has not occurred to me, and the public outcry piece of it wouldn't work for a thing that happens once a week
That's true.
with different people that are,
True, because the place was an established storefront in a mall.
right,
That was shut down.
and then it was shut down, but these people would just, maybe,
We're in a space.
yeah,
Sure, and there would be no, I could see the need for that then.
And of course, the language can be drafted differently to account for certain things.
I go over to Truman Flea Market occasionally, and I really do find it disturbing how these animals are treated and displayed. And maybe we should consider something, if we do have a flea market or farmer's market, no live animals. Could
Well,
be,
That could be written into that, so
I guess it sounds like everybody's kind of thinking now maybe we need one, or
Maybe.
some
Yeah,
type of.
maybe that's.
No, we could at least discuss
Well,
it first.
Not at all.
Well,
Not
Mr. Mayor,
even
would you
for
like,
one at a time,
Mr. Mayor, would you like a straw poll?
I think maybe a straw poll just to give Mr. Womack some idea.
Are we saying yea, nay? For an ordinance, against an ordinance, right? Is that what you're saying?
Basically something to control,
Would you be supportive of an ordinance or not?
No.
Mrs. Paul,
Yes.
Mrs. Conley,
Yes.
Ms. Nichols.
With further discussion, yes.
Yeah, depending on what's in the ordinance.
Okay, further discussion, but yes.
That would be my take also. I would have no problem with a pet shop itself, but a vendor just wandering into town and wanting to sell animals that have no records or anything, I would have a problem with that. So depending on what's in the ordinance, yes, I could take a look at it.
I think that's the gist of this, of everyone here, there would be some type of control of a flea market vendor coming in.
Minimal.
Red Flannel may have a pet vendor, then there's no control. Okay, Mr.
We don't
Womack?
have control anyway?
Not now, we have nothing on the books.
I mean, the Red Flannel people can't say who they want as a vendor?
We have,
They could.
Red Flannel's not the city.
correct.
But I'm, okay.
Any tax, I was stuck,
Hmm?
nothing.
And we do not take our marching orders from the Red Flannel Festival.
No, I was thinking that could be a control.
Well, that would be our control
So that
over
would-
them.
But that's up to them.
One at a time, please.
But that's only during the Red Plano Festival. If we create this farmer's market, then
I guess I don't
That's
see that we
completely
have,
separate.
that this is sort of a straw man. I just don't know that we have an issue that we have to build something for that does not exist, and if it exists, then we can handle it.
I
Right
think what
now,
he's trying to say is it does exist in the county. And it exists in this
But we
format
don't-
as something
we
that
don't
we're
have-
hoping to bring.
I agree, but we don't have an animal shelter where people can go readily to find animals. If that is the intent or partial intent of the ordinance, to encourage people to go to a shelter and get animals. Where's our shelter?
I thought
We
it
have
was,
none.
I
Actually,
thought,
some
One
of
at
the
a time.
rescue is in.
Okay, basically what we have here is a straw poll that is wishing the manager to come up with some type of language, so I guess if you will do that and
Thank
bring
you,
it
Mr.
back
Mayor.
to us, and then we can further debate.
One thing on that, no animals at farmer's market, if you do that, then you, exile your FFA and your 4-H from being able to take part in them.
For sale. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, we'll suss it out.
That'll be further discussion down the road, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the council biographies for the city website, currently, I think there's 2 people who have their biographies on the city website.
okay.
I think it's good for the city councilors to make themselves available to the public, let the public know who you are, what you stand for, how many grandchildren you have, and a picture if you like. Certainly, I'm not going
Some grandchildren?
to, or your dogs if you prefer.
You can have mine.
I can yours.
Certainly,
I share them
certainly I'm
sometimes.
not going to, nor could I require it, but if you would like to, we could sit down, draft a short biography, take a picture, and I'll throw it up on the website.
So if any of the councilors, convenience, if they could stop in and have that taken care of, would be much appreciated. Me in particular.
Can we send you pictures?
You could,
Okay.
I could also make up your biography for you if you wish.
That would be
I would
fun.
like to see that.
Do mine, I don't care.
Oh,
Moving on,
my Minnie Mouse?
item F.
Mr. Mayor, we have identified a number of individuals that we'd like to approach, individuals and businesses and organizations we'd like to approach to request a small donation to help fund the hotel feasibility study to bring the American to the city. I guess the only thing I'm wrestling with is if we get more donations than required, what we would do with that money, if we'd return it or use that money towards a future study of some kind. We're actually fairly close to the $1,500 amount at this time. But what I would like to do is leverage my council members to approach these individuals if they have better personal ties with them. So maybe council members could stop by my office and we could go over who I'd like to approach and if anybody has contacts with them.
Yeah, that'd be good. And, you know, we could also, ask the donors if they, when they do donate money, if we go over the $1,500, that possibly we could look at enhancing this study for future business draws or other reasons that would attract other people. And then, if you have anyone with wishes to donate, have them contact the city manager and they'll figure out who to make the check to.
The DDA would like to, but they don't have any money.
Okay,
Not that we're better.
enough said.
Right, I'll take it back.
Okay, moving on.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more question along this line.
Sure.
Do we know the person that's at this point going to do this study or offering to do it for the $1,500?
That's something I have to speak with Mr. McIntyre about.
We're going under the pretext of that person.
But he is going to work with the municipality, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, the name was presented at.
I remember that, but I don't.
Mr. McIntyre will be spearheading that,
Okay.
and we'll be working with them and their representative from American Inn.
But they require the municipality
Correct.
to be involved in this.
This study will tease American Inn to further their ambitions to come to us, hopefully. And if we have any additional monies, maybe we can lure some nice restaurants or other businesses out there with the additional funds that would come in. Okay? Everybody, go ahead, Ms. Nixon.
So, will there be any steps taken to ensure that this American is built within our taxable area?
Yes.
I mean, okay, good. Because I would hate for us to be putting money toward it, and then they're like, oh, let's go to Solon.
You missed the meeting. The property they are looking at is out on White Creek Avenue, adjacent to the medical facility.
And they want our water and sewer.
Correct.
Wonderful, they're not gonna,
So being in
It's all
Solon.
there.
The line's there.
Correct.
Right, but I'm just saying they can't, like, they need to attach to our system.
okay.
So they kind of need to be in the city.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item G. Mr. Womack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As discussed at our workshop, we're looking at donating those parcels after the land split to Habitat for Humanity. I'm not married to Habitat for Humanity. I contacted them on Monday. They have not gotten back to me. And with the additional discussion we had today regarding senior housing, zero-step, handicapped, I'd be open to any other organization. But I would like to donate that land to get it off our tax rolls by the end of the year.
Where are them, as far as located by the ones that we,
It's across Fifth Avenue, 2 lots maybe.
Yeah, the properties that the CDBG donated to us, there's 3 lots that are adjacent there, and it would be one of the lots that CDBG donated to us would be included into that for the donation.
I thought I put a map in this packet.
There was.
No, in looking at this, it seems to me that this might be the parcel that previously we had turned down,
Yes,
Yeah.
the one.
because we had said that our master plan says we want senior housing. And forgive me, I can't recall the name of it just now.
that's what I was wondering if this is them one.
It is.
Yeah.
That was for a profit company.
No?
No, let's have that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't
Had
Habitat.
that
It was the Christian
Yeah.
Urban League,
Oh,
or,
that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
in any case, they,
We may, right now, we were in the process of doing some land swaps.
Mhm.
That's why we couldn't let it go, because we didn't know CDBG needed it.
There was a possibility they needed it for parking or for part of the pass-through to the piece across.
And that was before we traded them,
was
right?
not
Yes.
all the discussion we had. It was that it was to be saved per the master plan for senior housing.
Yes, that was the other piece of it. Like there were 2
That
parts
was the
to it.
biggest portion of it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Certainly, right.
So I guess what I'm saying with this discussion item is something will be coming, and I'll have an action item available to you when I know it's going to happen.
Very good.
So I guess what's the wish of the council? To have the manager proceed with donating the property or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need a motion?
No, just the.
Strong.
Yes.
Okay.
Question, Master. Do we have water and sewer into those properties at this time?
Mr. Stressman?
No.
That would be their burden.
Will that be part of our donation, or will that be something they will pay for?
They would have to pay for it if I'm right, because our ordinances state we may not give away water and sewer.